Welcome to the podcast of Where Love Touches People. Thank you for tuning in. This week, we are doing the Your Opinion section. We have invited guests with contrast perspective and they will give their thoughts on our selected topic.
Hi again, welcome to another episode of Where Love Touches People. Today we are starting off, well not exactly starting off, but we'll continue on our theme of health for the month. And today's topic will be discussing about mental health. I guess it's something that it's a buzzword that's been floating around quite a lot recently, but not a lot of people really talk about it in depth. And we have a very special guest today, Suzi, who is a mental health blogger and also our friend, which I'm glad to have on our I guess podcast today as well. Hi, Suzi.
Hi, thanks for having me.
No, it's our pleasure. So Suzi is a mental health blogger, and she also works part-time at the moment at a mental health organization, and she has been so kind to spend some time with us to discuss about her journey with her mental health, and also her journey with Christ as well in relation to her struggles. Yeah, so thank you so much. Maybe we'll start off with a bit of introduction. Suzi, maybe you'd like to introduce yourself to the listeners?
Yeah, sure. Hi, my name is Suzanne, also known as Suzi Dane. I am a mental health and fashion blogger, and I share my journey around being diagnosed with bipolar and how I overcome this illness through my social media platforms. I share honestly and openly and confidently about my illness on the social media platforms in hope that it will help someone, help save lives, and also working in mental health as a mental health peer support worker. Basically, that's a role that requires to have a lived experience of a mental illness. I have bipolar, and I mainly teach art to adults on a Monday afternoon, adults with severe to complex mental health issues. I also facilitate groups over Zoom, like I'm doing making home groups, like teaching origami, like learn how to do candles over Zoom, and cooking as well, which can be quite tricky at times, but it's really rewarding, and I'm really blessed and grateful that I got this job during this pandemic time, and yeah, so on.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, it sounds like you're doing so many things at the moment. How do you manage your time?
I think I'm generally a quite busy person, a very busy person, and I'm getting better at it. I'm always learning about time management and prioritizing myself for some, like before work, self-care, and it's because I'm always very busy. I'm either on social media posting about my story or doing interviews like for today with you, Andrew. Mm-hmm. And my time goes, I'm working part-time at the moment, so that's most of my time goes to that. I'm going full-time next year in January with the same organization. They offered me full-time work the other week, and I accepted straight away without no hesitation. And yeah, my time goes a lot to the work, but I also make sure that I spend some time doing self-care, like art and meditation, sometimes like praying to God and asking God for strength and so on, because like it sometimes can be hard times during this pandemic, and not being able to see some family or so on that for other people as well. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's awesome, Suzi, that you've managed to land yourself a full-time job for next year. That's so good.
Yeah, it'll be my first time working full-time too, so I'll see how it goes. But they are very supportive in my decision. If I can't manage full-time next year, I can always fall back part-time. It's very flexible, and the environment is so supportive. I feel a little uncomfortable in it actually, because I've had some bad experience with some other jobs, like waitressing in the past, but they're very supportive, and they told me that if I can't do full-time at any time, I can always fall back to part-time or even casual. Yeah. I'm just gonna give it my best shot, I guess.
Yeah. Wow. So Suzi, you mentioned earlier that you have bipolar. Can you tell us a bit more about it?
Yeah, sure. Good question. My story started when I was 14. That was a time I was very stressed with studies and plus I had some family issues, and I attempted suicide, but luckily I didn't succeed, and I didn't seek help from the mental health organizations like GP or a psychiatrist until 5 years later, not when I was 19 years old. So I was diagnosed with first clinical depression. It's like all very like a lot of like jargon words and stuff like that, like clinical depression, schizophrenia, bipolar. There was also another time I was diagnosed with schizophrenia, but I believe that was a misdiagnosis because sometimes I hear voices when I'm unwell. I hear voices and I feel suicidal, and I only got diagnosed with bipolar maybe about like 4 or 5 years ago, and it's bipolar disorder type 1. And I tried many medications when I was since 19. I'm still on medications, and the current medication that I'm taking is a really good combination. It includes a medication for antipsychotic to help with the voices, and also I get an injection every month. And this bipolar has really shaped me who I am, and I've learned to accept it as it is. And I have a chronic illness that I have to be on medication for the rest of my life. I tell myself that, and even my doctors say that. Even though there were some times I tried to stop the medication, I had medication withdrawals, but that didn't go too well. After like 2 days of not taking my medication, I would go back to hospital and have suicidal thoughts and have hearing voices. So I've learned that the hard way by not being on medications for a couple of days and thinking that I was strong and thinking that God has healed me at times. But I believe that God has put me in a place that to go through this illness, go through all the pain and hurt that happened to me.
Yeah.
And that He has a greater plan for me, and that He put me in this position so that I can help other people, Andrew, and like I can talk about my mental health openly, and in hope that it will help someone, even save a life. Yeah, I had a YouTube video I posted a long time ago about overcoming depression and bipolar, and there was someone who commented on my video saying that I was going to end my life today, but I didn't because I watched your video, and that was the beginning of my social media kind of influencer kind of work thing. I learned that my story could have a positive impact on someone else. But in terms of that too, I have had trolls on my YouTube videos. I have someone tell me, I hope you die of depression, or don't mind my language. They said, you're the ugliest sack of shit I've ever seen. And that's kind of really negative comments, and I didn't understand why I did it. But I think I did the best thing for myself by not responding to them, because I don't want to add fuel to the fire, Yeah. So that's a bit of a long kind of whiny story about how I got into bipolar and how I got the diagnosis, I guess. Yeah.
Oh no, thank you for sharing the story, Suzi.
That's okay. Yeah.
Have you had any have you ever had any trouble trying to explain what you have to other people?
Definitely. I think a lot of people think bipolar is just about really high highs and really low lows. In a way, it is a little bit like that, but it's different for everyone. Not everyone have the similar kind of symptoms like me. I did struggle sometimes, especially with my family at the beginning. I didn't know how to explain it. Yeah, because it's really hard to explain like voices and that kind of thing. But I just tell them it's a very frightening and scary position to be in when I'm hearing voices, and the voices direct me to end my life or do something bad to myself. But overall, I think as time goes by, I learned to accept that not everyone will understand my mental health and my bipolar, but I just give it my best shot to explain it to them. Like over maybe when people read my stories on my blog or my social media, and I hope that it kind of breaks the stigma around mental health illnesses. But mainly when I did the SBS interview with SBS Vietnamese, I share a lot about how there's a lot of stigma, and especially in the Southeast Asian culture, how people who get told that if they have mental health issues, they get, especially in the countryside, like Vietnam, for example. My grandma tells me that like people who have like hearing voices or seeing things, they chained to their bed at in the countryside. So it's very Vietnam still has a long way to go in terms of mental health and helping other people with mental health issues.
Yep.
So I just do my part in where I'm just trying to start with Australia first and share my story from there. Yeah.
Wow. But it's really good that you're able to share with the world what you have, through social media and other platforms as well. How were you able to change, I guess? I would say it must be a very, I guess, a dark moment for you to receive that diagnosis of bipolar. But you mentioned earlier that you were able to, I guess, you were willing to share the story in the hopes of being able to help other people. How were you able to turn something negative like your diagnosis into a positive thing for you?
That's a tricky question, actually. I think that because I'm an optimist, overall an optimist. In any negative situation, you can't change the things that happen to you, but you can change the way you respond to things. Mm-hmm. And I really believe that even during those hard times, like when I was feeling suicidal or I was feeling really stressed, traumatized or triggered for anything that happened to me, mm-hmm. Just at times I feel that if you pray to God during those times of struggle, you can turn it into something even bigger and more positive, like praying to God and crying out to God. Or I've done it a few times, and I have received some healing from God, and I think He put me in a place so I can, like I said before, a place where it's really dark and I felt I could not get out of it until later. Mm-hmm. And He had a plan for me God had a plan to me to experience those kind of things, and so that I can in turn help other people. And no matter how bad my situation is, I can always try to turn it into something positive. And helping people is something that I want to, if I die, I can just know that I tried my best to help people and help save lives through my sharing of my mental health and my bipolar. And just like sharing my experiences on these platforms as well. So mm-hmm. if I can help someone save a life, even I see why not then I've done my part, and I've done my part for the community and the world. Yeah.
Wow, that's so awesome, Suzi. It reminds me of how it says in the Bible that everything happens for the good of those who love Him, as in loving Jesus. And I can
amen.
see that it's from your story, it has come true, I guess, in your life. Hey,
yes. Of course. Like if I ask myself, or if I could do a podcast on my story 5 years ago, I would doubt myself and I would not have the confidence that I have now, and openly talk about it honestly, confidently, and like vulnerably in a good way, vulnerable way. Yeah. So I'm really thriving in life at the moment. I'm really past all my traumas and my triggers. Like I don't get affected by them as much, or not at all. And it's just amazing how far I've come, and from going from a stage where it was really, really dark and I did not know how to get out of it. I learned to look at the positive side, and even though I had some like trouble with, example, like medications in the past, I lost side effects like weight gain, and sometimes the medication made me feel more worse about myself and feeling like sedated all the time if I take medication during the daytime. But I really believe that God has gave me this blessing, it's this illness, so that I can share with other people and help other people as much as I can. Yeah.
Wow. Nobody would think that having an illness would be a blessing, but for you to be able to say it that way, I think it's really amazing.
Yeah. I was reading an article last night about bipolar and the importance of faith. And one of the lines that article person wrote about is like, I feel that my illness is a blessing because I can help people. Yeah. It's similar to that, along with the word line. And I think that was really powerful, and that clicked through for me straight away. I'm like, yeah, that's me too. Yeah.
Wow. That's awesome. So how does your faith help in you overcoming all these struggles in your life?
That's a good question. Before I became Christian, I was actually a Buddhist. My first encounter with God was in 2013, and I wasn't a really practicing Buddhist, but I was invited to church, and I received the power of the Holy Spirit, and I felt there was something that really moved in me that day, and I was very curious about religion and spiritual things, and so it's been like a rocky ride. Like I said, told you, like I received some judgment from one of the spiritual leaders in the old church. So it's been a rocky ride. It's I believe that following God is not an easy journey for anyone, for me, for anyone. Yeah, it takes a lot of what's the word? It takes a lot of strength and weakness too, because you got to. When I feel weak, I also try to pray out to God, cry out to God that God give me peace, give me healing, and strength as well.
So have you ever felt limited, I guess, due to your mental health diagnosis?
In terms of finding employment kind of thing, or I can give an example, I guess, in terms of mental health and employment. I accidentally had an accident. I stood up and my head hit the metal rack, and I had to file an incident report. And I shared with them afterwards that I had depression and I was not well. And so they put the blame back on me and said that, okay, you can't work now. And they stopped giving me shifts after I shared with them that I had depression at the time. This is a long time ago with my old employment. And yeah, I felt limited. Like in that case, like people had the stigma around, depression, and I was really shocked that I didn't receive any more shifts after that. So in that sense, I kind of feel that not everyone understands mental health and mental illnesses. So there's still like taboo and stigma in Australia. It's getting better, a little bit better, but there's still a lot of work to do. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, wow. What about other areas of your life besides employment? I guess maybe, for example, like with your friends and relationships, has mental health, I guess your mental health diagnosis, has it impacted it negatively in any way, or?
Definitely impacted negatively and positively, to say the least. I grew up with my grandparents. My parents divorced when I was 6, and my grandparents raised me basically. And what they've been through the thick and thin, my grandparents, and I was very in awe that especially my grandpa, when he found out that I had depression, he went to his doctor and asked the doctor to print out PDFs, documents in Vietnamese about depression. And I was just so touched by what he did for me.
Oh, wow.
But there was also some times that I was really bizarre, and I was really I was always crying and yelling as well, and they didn't know how to help me, and they noticed I kept going in and out of hospital because I've been in our mental health adult psychiatric ward like 10 times now. But my last admission was 2 years ago though. Anyway, but my grandparents have been really they're the pillars of my life, and they've really been there through thick and thin, and they celebrate all my little successes, like getting a job, being offered full-time work, and I share with them like my little successes, like in being interviewed with SBS Vietnamese, and sharing my story. And recently I won an art award as well, and I got runner-up prize for a mental health video competition, and I got runner-up prize, got a few $100 for that. But yeah, anyway, they've been really supportive, and my grandparents are amazing. I love them so much. Mom and dad they're very understanding too. Yeah. I'm more closer to my mom though, and mom has seen that I'm getting quotation better, and I'm more stabilized with my medications and what I'm doing in life. But I also remember that in my family, especially my grandma, like when I was in the hospital, I was told by my grandpa that my grandma would cry at night and try to like she was really worried about me, and she was always crying, but she didn't tell me this. My grandma told me that. So I'd say that was kind of quite a moment for me. So I want to really be better, and I want to try different medications so I can feel better and be better. in myself, like mentally and emotionally. And I also have a partner. We're doing long distance, and he's in Vietnam. It's been 8 months. He's very supportive, and he knows all my bipolar. Yeah, and he's very supportive. And we can only speak in Vietnamese because he doesn't speak English. So he's very supportive. He knows about bipolar. It was one of the very first things I told him about me, and he's just really he's really good about it, and he supports me in different ways. And I feel that my Vietnamese has improved as well after talking to him for 8 months, not 18 months, 8 months. Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome, Suzi. So let's talk about, I guess, your journey in your faith. You did mention that you encountered God roughly 8 years ago, and previously you were a Buddhist. Can you tell us, I guess maybe share with us a bit more about how that happened, and I guess how it changed your how it changed your life in terms of managing your mental health?
Yeah, in terms of managing my mental health, I believe that God opened doors in my life, but He also closes doors in my life. And in terms of my faith and in mental health as well, it can be a tricky situation to be in, especially when I'm hearing voices and trying to explain that trying to differentiate. I mean, that is it God or is it something else or is it something in between? Yeah, and I find that I really struggled at times, but I come back to tell myself that God is a good God and He would want me to live. He will not direct me to go kill myself or do something bad to myself. But there was also a time when I'll still say I'm a baby Christian, but back in the days when I was very new to Christianity, I shared with one of the spiritual leaders that God told me to die. And I felt at the time there was a lot of stigma from the person, and they told me that I just need to pray about it, that's all. And I didn't feel supported by it, and from then on I was reluctant to share with other Christians that God told me to die. But back then I didn't know much about hearing voices. I was still very new to mental health as well. But looking back, it definitely wasn't God, Andrew. It was something else. It's part of my illness, and hearing voices is something that's really frightening and terrifying to be in, a state to be in. Yeah. But looking back, it was definitely not God. It was my hearing voice. It's part of my symptoms. And yeah, but I can differentiate the different voices at the moment, because if I know it's not God, it's something else, I tell myself I need to check myself into a hospital right now, and reach out to my support network, tell them that I'm hearing voices. I'm not hearing God. I'm hearing voices, and they tell me to end my life or do something bad to myself. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm glad that you're able to find the clarity in terms of differentiating these voices in your head.
Yeah. It's taken a long time, but I think I'm there now. I know when I have enough called self-awareness to know when it's not God, and I need to seek help, professional help.
Yeah, wow. So thank you so much for, I guess, your willingness and your openness to share with us about your journey with your mental health, and also how your faith has helped you to get through some of these struggles in your life. We did talk about quite a lot of things today in this episode, but if there was one thing that you wanted the listeners to take home from our episode today, what would that be, Suzi?
Good question again. Don't give up easily on people with mental illnesses. They are also human, and not everyone is violent. And they're human beings with real human experiences. And be there for them. Don't judge their experience and journey, because their journey is very unique to them, I would say.
Wow, thank you so much.
No worries, Andrew.
Yeah, thank you so much for your time today, Suzi. I really appreciate it, and I hope the listeners as well. They'll take quite a few things from our episode today and maybe apply it in their daily lives with other people.
Yeah, I hope so too.
Some mental health issues.
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah. Thank you for having me, Andrew.
No. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening. Our podcast releases every Wednesday at 8 a.m.
If you want to reach us out, please do so through our email, IG, or YouTube account, which you can find through our profile.
See you next time.